Oh, we're live. Hey, I'm Nick Roush. That's Adam Luckett. We're here at the Nutter Fieldhouse, standing on the Rich and Karen Brooks field. Yeah, you forget they renamed the field after Rich and Karen Brooks when they redid the Nutter Fieldhouse not that long ago. And it was packed in here not that long ago either. We're the last ones standing after Will Stein was introduced as the Kentucky head football coach, and we're going to talk to you about what he said, lessons we learned about him, and much, much more, including some very interesting, some feisty comments from Mitch Barnhart. But first, I got to tell you, we're brought to you by Friends of Cole, friendsofcolekentucky.org. Friends of Cole, they've been friends with the Commonwealth for many, many years, been around for a long time. They plan to be here for a long time. Cole's resilient, reliable, and affordable. Visit friendsofcolekentucky.org to learn more. Luckett, I guess we can start just from the top about there's a lot of pomp and circumstance that comes with these. You forget how you got the clapping, we've got the pyrotechnics, we hit some fireworks and some smoke. I think he might have been a little taken aback by it. But once we got through the regular trappings and he said, you know, the kind of like, oh, crap, this is cool, I'm the Kentucky head coach. What did you have to take away? What was the thing that really popped for you from Will Stein's first conversation?
Yeah, as you all know, I'm a college football sicko. I watch a lot of these. I watch pretty much all of them every year. And we have that 11 personnel intro show, like new coach show.
It's a lot of fun.
So basically, like, the big thing, Nick, is like these are a celebration of like a lifelong accomplishment.
Correct.
Like Pete talked about how it was surreal that like Will Stein's high school friends were here and it was just like they couldn't believe what they were seeing.
Yeah.
It was just like, I can't believe this is happening. Pete couldn't believe it was happening. And so you realize like there's a human element to these where you don't really see like head coaches
be vulnerable.
Yeah, be vulnerable in this moment. You
Show
see how
emotion.
big of a deal, like Will's kids are running around making noise. We didn't really get to see his parents, but you know, you knew that was just a big. They showed his dad scoring a touchdown.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, I love the old highlight clips. That was great.
So you realize just how like big a deal this is. Like how big of an accomplishment this is for someone.
He talked about how when they landed on the tarmac too, it was, oh my gosh, we've got 15 cop cars in front of us and 15 behind us. He said, I feel like there's president or something,
right.
You know?
Yeah, and then you get into kind of letting the football guard down and talking about ball. I think just off the top of my head, big thing that stood out was kind of his recruiting pitch.
Yes.
How they're going to handle recruiting and then playing an aggressive style, risk-taking style of football. That's how they're going to have to win.
It's the only way I know how to play, how to coach.
And with that, you know, I asked him, do you feel like you're resourced? Like, I think that's what everyone wants to know.
Yeah. I mean, he went from Oregon, where they've got Phil Knight and Nike money, and he really diminished that. I mean, he basically said recruiting is still recruiting. I asked him about the GM structure, and he was like, well, you know, he balances the budget, but it's all about recruiting still. And we also heard his boss afterwards kind of diminish that too.
Well, today, like, you all haven't seen it yet. It'll be up on KSR. You have to watch that press conference.
It's the feistiest, fieriest you will ever see Mitch Barnhart.
He talks about the decision on Stoops and basically says, you know, kind of came down to bowl eligibility. I mean, he didn't say that, but that's what it came down to. They lost to Louisville. They decided to move on. He said he gave Mark a lot of compliments and how he was willing Sunday to kind of
play ball,
negotiate. He called him a good man, a great man.
Yep, really grateful for the 8 years. There's no happy endings in sports. We got to focus on the great 8 years in between.
Right.
But he did get testy when asked about
funding. About how building a team with money.
He said it's enough.
Called it nonsense.
Yeah, he called it nonsense. We have enough, and it's enough of hearing it. What's up, Mario?
Feed the studs.
Feed the studs.
But he was very animated and as ticked off as I've ever seen him. But like, there's a reason why we ask those questions. It's because there's not clarity in it all. It's the same thing that applies to the GM stuff. And Mitch also kind of called that nonsense too. That was his word. Nonsense is that it's all semantics, right? Like, if you don't think the head coach is the one making decisions, then you're an idiot, basically.
Yeah. Bottom line, Nick, whatever number you want to believe on basketball, they spent however much money.
Yep.
So the bounce back to that is like, well, okay, what's football? Well, if you're spending that much money, you had to probably take some of that away from the football.
Yeah.
So where are you? Are you in a position to go compete and go get the players you need to go get to win in this league? We can talk about Stein's accomplishments, offense, style play. this, that, and the other, but they have to have the personnel. You got to have the players.
I mean, that's what Mario's just said. Feed the studs. You got to have the players. Give the ball to your best players. Let them do their thing. So that part of it was interesting to me because Mitch was rather defiant that they have enough money, and it has always been the messaging.
And we're going to find out in January if that's true.
And the other part too, Luckett, is like this was happening as they were supposed to be voting on the SCORE Act, which Mitch kind of went all in on the SCORE Act. I have a feeling it's not going to pass today. There might be a vote on it. I don't know. You know, I'm not on Capitol Hill with Ross Dellinger.
I'm usually on top of that stuff, but we've had stuff going on.
There's been a lot happening.
So we'll dig into that, whatever's going on. But
we also had Eric Wolford going to LSU during that, so that was like okay, all right. I guess he's boys with Lane. I don't know. Stoops is boys with Lane.
I think the Stoops and Saban connection might have had something to do with that.
Yeah, so good for you, Wolf. Always landing on his feet. He's coached in, every SEC team now?
Alabama, South Carolina, Kentucky, LSU.
Yeah, he's making his rounds. He's going to catch them all before it's all said and done. Let's get back to what Stein actually said, though, where my big takeaway, Luckett, is we talk a lot about Stein as the play caller, right? And he's a risk taker, and we think about the offense. But I forget that he was coaching with Dan Lanning. Like there's a part that you forget that he was with that psycho for 3 years, and he's the best kind of psycho. Like people love Dan Lanning because he is this football
taking shirts off on television.
Yeah, like he's a meathead, but he's not a dumb meathead, right? And we got some of that meathead from Stein today that I didn't know we had in him, right? Like what he was. Said something about MFers or something like.
Well, I love the quarterback quote.
Yeah, they got to be mental tough. They got to be the toughest MFer out there. That was his actual word.
And if they can't throw 70% in high school, I'm not recruiting them.
Yeah, like why do we think you're going to be able to do that in college? But like he talked about that repeatedly, how this has to be the hardest offseason ever. Because if we're not going to play hard now, then how are we going to play hard on Saturdays? The spring game, that question got asked. A lot of people were upset with how Kentucky's handled the spring in recent years. You know how you get better at playing football? You play football. And that's the plan when Will Stein is in command. Yeah, it is a really wild concept. But and at one point, too, when he was asked about the players meeting, he's like, I dropped a couple F-bombs. Sorry, Mitch. I enjoyed that. But there is some of that landing in there that I think I kind of previously glossed over that I'm really going to like.
Can we cuss on here?
Yeah.
Talk to people. Like, I've heard Will Stein has some shit to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think
it's good to know. Because we just had a coach who had some, and it felt like he lost it at the end.
Bottom line, Stein was 5'8", and he wouldn't play quarterback at Louisville. So, like, obviously you have to have something to you to do that. But I think you saw some of that and why he's risen up the ranks, right?
when Mitch lowered the mic for him, it brought me back to David Padgett and Archie Miller, and Archie Miller grabbing up and bringing it down.
I was looking at Nick. I was waiting for him to make a Pat Kelsey joke.
Oh, man. Which, by the way, how did your skin crawl when he said thanks to Bob Beatty?
Yeah, so that's just something I'm going to have to get over. So it just is what it is. I can't sit here, no crying from the KSR yacht. We're moving on to bigger and better things.
Oh, man. But to the quarterback stuff.
Or pontoon, speedboat.
That was another thing, Luckett. We got a lot of Cutter questions. Cutter's in the crowd. People kept asking about him recruited, and Stein dodged those completely.
Elephant in the room in a lot of ways.
Yeah. One, I don't know how much he recruited him. I was more interested in the Ponatoski element of it all. But two, Cutter was here. His dad was here. Like, there's, we don't know what's going to happen, but I know a lot of people watching and a lot of people who are sitting here have a lot of belief in Boley. We don't know what Will Stein thinks of Cutter Boley, and we're not going to find out for another month. Fair? Maybe a couple weeks?
I need to go back and listen to his answer kind of about the calendar, how he's going to handle coaching in playoff game or games while he's doing this job. Here's the thing. He mentioned, and he is right, it's a dead period now.
Yeah.
No recruiting work can be done. Where in the past, you go on visits. This time the coaches hit the road.
Yeah.
But since signing day got bumped up so far in advance, you don't have any of that. And the portal was bumped back to January. But and even Mitch mentioned this. Why it was so important to hire Stein so quickly was because, hey, people tamper. You got it. They're coming after your roster.
Yeah.
So you got to have some defense mechanism in place to keep players here. So how does he manage all of that?
Yeah.
That's, to me, is the most fascinating thing because their first game is going to be December 18th or 19th. They're going to play like Virginia at home. They're going to win that football game.
Yep.
And then they're going to go play probably who's the number 3 team? Is it A&M, Georgia maybe?
One of them. An SEC team, most likely. Or maybe the loser of Indiana, Ohio State.
That game's going to take place, I believe, on New Year's Day. New Year's Day.
One of those two.
If they win that game, then you're into the portal window.
Yeah.
And even before then, there is important pre-work that you have to set your board, you have to allocate your funds, and you got to have everything ready to go, and you have to know where you're going to go and how you're going to allocate your resources, your financial resources. And so for them, I think that's just going to be a high wire act to cross. I think he's got to get his staff in place. You mentioned the GM.
Yeah.
Important role, and get some staff members here. We've reported on Justin Burke.
Yep. Said people want to coach at the University of Kentucky. They want to coach with Will Stein. We'll get the best out there.
Yeah.
I did think it was noteworthy. Shout out to Ryan Black. He gave me the best chuckle of the day, our friend from the Courier-Journal, who asked a question that it invaded my mind. I just completely glossed over the Dan Lanning factor, but Lanning did the same thing when he went to Oregon. He was coaching for the Georgia Bulldogs when they won the national championship. He did a little bit of BOFA.
It was different, though, because it was a 2-team playoff.
It's true.
You have 2 weeks off in between games.
It was different.
And you have a month off between the SEC championship and that first playoff game.
Honestly, I think the hardest part of doing this, Dipsy-Do, is that they're in Eugene, Oregon. It's not like he's on the same time zone down south. Hell, it might be a benefit when it comes to Zooming and doing all that stuff. Maybe they have practice in the morning out there, so once practice is over, like it's 8 a.m. here, so then he can Zoom back and do stuff with UK. So we saw a couple current staff members that were here. Anmore Stewart, he was mixing it up with the former players because he is one. L. Damian Washington and I believe Derek Shea were both here, though, with the team.
I didn't see Shea, but some people said
they spotted him. So, there might be a couple rollovers from the previous staff. We don't know. There's still a lot of unknowns, but we did learn more about Will Stein today. And all in all, I know you watching at home, you're watching right now because you're fired up. I mean, that's what these are all about, right? Luckett, it's getting the people going.
I don't want to say KSR caught a stray, but we caught something when he talked about his mom.
Oh, yeah. He's got to get his mom an SID because she's doing interviews all over the place.
So that was an interesting part for the brand. But I think overall, Nick, it's just different. It's a lot different, more different than Stoops. Philosophy-wise, offensive-wise, right? Yeah. The energy, I think you can just feel it. You can feel the hunger, I think. Just in his voice. Which we didn't have for a while. And I'm not saying Stoops didn't or whatever, but how they approach things and how they go about it is just going to be different. He mentioned how hard they're going to go on the spring. We know how Mark Stoops liked to handle spring practice. Yeah. It was don't get anyone hurt.
Yep.
And it was like and for Stoops, I think he thought we play a physical brand of football. We're going to get after it, but we can't be reckless in how we do that. From science, it sounded like we're being reckless.
Yeah, we're pinning our ears back. We're going to play some ball.
And then the spring game quote, I don't know if we mentioned that yet, it was pretty much like we're going to play a full game.
Yeah, we're going to play football. That's how you get better. So I'm just glad that element is still apparent because as much as this is the part of football that you wanted to see with the new hire, right? We had a defensive head coach for 13 years here in Lexington. The next hire needs to be an offensive guy, but also you got to remember you're in the SEC. You can't just go to Hal Mummy football and turf where you got guys whiffing on tackles left, right, center. So it sounds like that Stein is making that a point of emphasis. You'll love to hear that, but now you got to go get it done.
Right.
You got to go get the players, and it's big next month for the future of the Kentucky football program.
I liked how Stein addressed Stoops, right?
That was cool.
The best part to me, Nick, about all of this the last few days is that it's come around and Stoops has gotten to get his flowers. He did a lot for this place and this program, a ton.
This building looks drastically different than the building that I stood in here when he walked in 13 years ago.
It's just he's earned that, and it's good for him to see that, and I'm glad people are
acknowledging it, praising him. Yeah, because it could have been nasty, and not all stories have happy endings, as Mitch Barnhart said. But, this one could have been worse. It's bittersweet. It's a time to move on. We are in a new era, but we need to end it because we got to go right about all this stuff. So we appreciate hanging out with you all today. We appreciate Friends of Cole. And, Luckett, get ready to enjoy a bunch of Bob Beatty football. You're about to get shamrocked, Luckett.